Stephen Hawking, Charles Darwin, and Isaac Newton all wandered these streets of London. And if they were alive today, they would all obviously be part of the ValleyDAO community. Why? Let me tell you. The ValleyDAO community is composed of talented researchers, entrepreneurs, and students, all working and collaborating together to find and review which projects that ValleyDAO ultimately funds. And in this way, we ensure that we really use the collective intelligence approach of the crowd to fund the very best research projects that will ultimately back the Grow token. Cocoa Zero, Cardaforge, Hempy, and more recently TATTVA were all funded through this approach. So the biggest challenge in synthetic biology and climate biotech funding is really like once researchers have initiated their projects, they've generated some data, that data is not always enough to ultimately bring them to market. There's a lack of funding sources for these types of research projects. So what ValleyDAO does is we partner up with researchers at this critical stage and help them raise what we call bridge funding. And we do that through the means of crypto and blockchain, through crowdfunding. So the projects that we list on our platform enables access for anybody in the world to go in and co-fund those projects and own a piece of that future. First of all, ValleyDAO is the primary DeSci project focusing on climate and planetary health. So by holding Grow, you directly support this particular cause. Now, our project portfolio consists of different initiatives at universities where the focus is on, for example, taking electronic waste, such as with Cardaforge, and converting that into raw metals that we can reuse instead of having it pile up in landfills. And for example, Cocoa Zero, there we're innovating in food science to bring and to enable local production of ingredients that can directly be used for chocolate instead of having to ship it halfway across the globe. So by holding the Grow token, you have direct exposure to all of these cutting-edge innovations that we are funding at, for example, here at Imperial College London, where we're recording this video. So over the last few years, we have enabled and funded a range of cutting-edge climate biotech research projects, such as Cardaforge, Hempy, Cocoa Zero, and now recently TATTVA. And by being part of the ValleyDAO community, by holding the Grow token, it acts as a direct gateway to the success of all of these different projects that we hope will change the world someday. A common question that we get is, how do we find these projects? So usually there are two ways. Either researchers from universities all over the world can directly apply to our funding strategy. But we do a lot of work together with our own community of researchers, students, former and current startup founders to use that ValleyDAO network to help source different research projects. So when we find a project, we usually have a conversation with the researcher. We go through the materials that they send us. And then we run an internal review process with our community members so that we always make sure that it's the community that is ultimately curating the ValleyDAO research portfolio. So one of the community's favorite projects is Hempy. Like the clothing industry accounts for almost 4% of global emissions. And that is a problem that we're aiming to tackle with the Hempy project. So the project takes traditional material such as hemp and modifies it to make it more desirable as a textile material by primarily softening it, but also by unlocking new material properties such as making it UV resistant and water repelling. Recently, we achieved a significant technical milestone in the lab that where Hempy is conducted that will enable us to do exactly this. Just last year, 62 billion kilograms of electronic waste was generated from TVs, computers, phones. All of these metals are approximately worth 91 billion, but the problem is that they're very difficult to extract. With the Forge project, we're developing a completely novel bioprocess that uses special organisms that can directly extract these metals. So what this practically means is that Instead of digging new mines, extracting more metals, and putting pressure on planetary resources, we can just take electronic waste that would otherwise have gone to waste, extract those exact same metals, and reuse them in new electronical components. The construction industry is responsible for approximately 37% of global emissions. Our most recent funded project, TATTVA, produces biomaterials using ambient carbon dioxide from the air into these critical materials that can be used in construction and engineering, ultimately replacing oil-based and plastic-based materials.